in Mr. Prakash Padukone, rightly called the godfather of Indian badminton.
If Deepika's acting skill is 10 on 10, how would you rate her badminton skill?
Maybe 5 on 10. Because, I wrote down everything. It was like a Bible for me after I.
Which is your favorite Bollywood movie?
If it is Deepika's movie, of course, I think it will be Piku. I think, first of all, the present generation, I think what they lack, in terms of importance is probably patience. There is no patience, in the players and the parents, both. So I noted down all the physical training they were doing. They were doing different things for different, to improve different parameters in physical training. One of the things I try to do is not to complain. Be happy with what you have and try to make the best use of, the facilities you have, whatever you have. Don't complain. Don't get into controversies, going to the press and, making, it doesn't help. So instead focus on things which are under your control.
Welcome everyone to Play More, Live More podcast. We have a very, very special guest today with us uh, in Mr. Prakash Padukone, rightly called the godfather of Indian badminton. So, welcome Prakash sir to the
Thank you.
podcast, and
Thank
we
you,
feel
Pratish. Thank
very
you.
honored and very privileged to have you today
Yeah.
with us. So, with that, we will just begin by sharing some anecdotes of how you sort of uh, became the world number one. I was reading about it, and I think in my research, I got to know that you were the youngest in India at the age of 16 to become a national champion. And then you continuously won the national championship for 7 straight years.
9 years.
9
9
years.
years.
So that in itself, and at such a young age, without any uh, facilities at that point of time, what made you start badminton to like as a kid? What made you pick up the badminton racket?
Well, first of all, I myself don't know how I became a champion. But anyway, initially I started playing badminton at the age of 7 in way back in 1962. That time, badminton was not very popular. Nobody knew about badminton, especially in the southern part of India. There was another sport called ball badminton, which was very popular here. They do still play, but nobody knows it. Basically, played only in India. It's not an international sport. So that game was very popular here. It's an outdoor sport, 5 players on one side, ball badminton, played with a yellow woolen ball.
Right.
So that was very popular in South India. So in the 40s, 50s, 60s, badminton was played only in the north, east, and western part of India. So nobody knew this badminton here.
Right.
Ball badminton was very popular. So there were very few courts, and like I started playing in a marriage hall, a community hall in Malleshwaram. So it was basically a marriage hall, and 6 months in a year it used to be booked for weddings. So if there were no weddings, we could go and play. But initially, it was just the my father used to play. My father actually started the Mysore, and that time it was Mysore State Badminton Association. He was the first secretary in the 50s, mid 50s. That's when the Mysore State Badminton Association was formed. So he was a national level referee.
Okay.
But he used to play sport for fitness. He used to work in in the Indian telephone industries. Would come back late, and he was looking for a. He used to play hockey earlier, but then by the time he came back home, it was 6:30 in the evening. So he had moved from Bombay,
Right.
and he had seen badminton being played there. So and there was nothing here.
Right.
So he formed the State Badminton Association first in the mid 50s, became the secretary, and then he used to play in this in Canara Union, which is a marriage hall, more for fitness. So
Right.
I used to tag along with him. My brother, older brother, who was 2 years older than me, I was 7, he was 9. So we used to just go along with him, at about 6:37. Not with the intention of becoming a champion, because we had nothing else to do, and father also wanted us to be under his
Watch.
watch, so that we just don't waste time. So then that's how we picked up. Suddenly started liking the game. Maybe I had the. So he taught us the fundamentals.
Right.
Me and a few other boys who were there.
Right.
Um, so because he was a national level referee, so he knew the basics. In
Yeah.
the umpires exam, they teach you the basics. Like the grip and the footwork and the basic things.
Right.
So then I. So that's how the journey
Journey
started. And a few state level players used to play there.
Right.
So, like I said, since the game was not popular,
Yeah.
there were no books, there was no radio. I mean, there was nothing on radio or television or at computer, or there were no coaches
Yeah.
because the game was not popular. So, I think I developed a habit of learning this sport, just watching others, watching better players than me.
Mm.
So maybe I had that knack of, just watching and learning, how do they play. So I would probably it just came naturally to me. I would just watch and when do a player stroke, how do they play the stroke, what do they do before. So I would analyze a little more deeply. So I think that helped. And throughout my career, I never had a coach
Right.
as a full time coach, which is unthinkable these
Today.
days. So one of the main reasons was, there were not too many choices. Basically, two choices: either you play in the hall which was available for 6 months, or you don't play. So there was no third option. I think that was a very good thing, if you look back, because there were other courts, but there were you had to be a member there, and uh, you know, uh, going and playing there was out of question. There was
Yeah.
no. So either you play here or you don't play. So these were the only two options. So like that, basically, the options were very little, in terms of travel or whatever. So basically, these two options.
Right.
So I think that in a way, really made us tough. So we were so happy that compared to others, who would not get even 6 months to play, we were happy that we are getting at least 6 months
Months to
to
play.
play. So that was the mindset, with which all of us, during our generation
Yeah.
in the 60s, we were happy that we are getting at least 6 months to
Play.
play. So that's how we started.
Right.
And I started liking the game. So I think I picked up faster than the others.
Right.
So I started at the age of 7, and by age 12 I won the first junior state level tournament. Just practicing on my own, and whenever I got an opportunity, no, no formal training. Just trial and error. Um, and that in those days there were no age categories like now.
Right.
There was 18 was the junior cutoff for juniors. So below 18 and above 18. That's all. So as a 7-year-old, I played. So I had to play. If you want, you play in the under 18.
And right.
So the very first match I played against 18-year-old boy.
Right.
I still remember his name. I think that was in Century Club or somewhere. They had a wooden court, one court at that time. So his name was Gurudat Rao. I
Right.
don't know where he is now, but of course I lost very badly. And then the very first match I started crying because even then I wanted to win.
When.
So then the officials there gave me the best loser award or something. So that's how my journey started. So even though I think it just came naturally to me. So even though he was 18-year-old, still I felt bad that I had lost. So I wanted to win even at that. So this was something probably it was inborn. So I wanted to do well and wanted to win. Didn't matter that he was 18-year-old. Like obviously I lose,
Yeah.
but even then I had that desire from within to to do well. I wanted to beat him.
Right.
So that's how my
Journey
journey
started.
started.
So, sir, and then you went on to win the nationals, and then you represented India, and then you won the Swedish Open, the Danish Open, the English Open, and I think all of this is like very well documented in the media. So probably I'll not go there, but I want to, for for the sake of a lot of Indian parents who always think about when they're sending their kids into sports, how to manage the finances of all of these things, right? Like there's international travel required. If you win the tournament and if you become a superstar, then that's great, then
Yeah.
all the financials are sorted. but if you don't end up being a superstar, then it can be a struggling journey. And I can't even imagine how difficult it must have been in 1970s and 1980s. So how did you manage your finances at that point of time? Were you ever worried? Were your parents ever worried? How did that struggle come to life?
Again, totally different from the present day.
Right,
We're from a very middle class family, so there was no way. We were five siblings,
right,
and my father was the only one working. So, in fact, I clearly remember, like that 12, when I won the first junior title, I was selected to play for the state in the junior nationals. But I think I was number three or four because I had won one. But so only two were allowed free,
right,
which was paid by the. So I was the third. They said I could go on my own. And it was maybe, I think it was total everything, including it was 100 rupees. And it was in Chennai, the first, it was Madras at that time.
right,
So my father said, no, we can't afford. So you don't go. So it is fine, like you can't. So but then so like opportunities were very few, so I think that also in a way forced us to when you make things very easy, then okay, if not, then the next one is there, next one is there. So you keep working hard.
yeah,
You don't know when the next next chance will come, next opportunity will come.
right,
So whenever it comes, then you want to do well because you really worked hard, and you don't know next when your next opportunity comes. So that in a way made us made a lot of, at least in my case, like um, uh, to work really hard and give my best and not just give up.
right,
So from a young age, so there was no question of sponsorship. So
convert,
many times later, even after I won the nationals, in those days it was very common that you play for the country, you're going for the all England, but you have to pay your own fare. So he said, no, we can't. So then you don't go. So it was a given. So the government can't pay, the association can't pay,
yeah,
state association can't pay, national federation can't pay,
right,
we can't afford.
right,
So it's okay. So you wait for next one whenever it's a Asian Games or something like when it comes. You so there were no disappointments, no complaints.
Hmm.
So I think that was one of the things which we never complained about.
Not having
Yeah, not
something.
having anything. Like that was one of the first things my father told, and I've stuck to that, not just during my career, even later and even now, or even in my personal life.
Right,
One of the things I try to do is not to complain, be happy with what you have,
right,
and try to make the best use of the facilities you have, whatever you have.
right,
Don't complain, don't get into controversies, going to the press and making it doesn't help.
yes,
So instead focus on things which are under your control.
right,
Like whenever you got a chance, work hard, give
right,
100% in every session.
right,
These things are in your hands.
right,
Government clearances,
yeah,
selection, it's not
yeah,
in your hands.
yeah,
So every time if there was a setback, like I mean, I didn't think of it at that time,
yeah,
but now looking back,
yeah,
so you would think, like you would ask yourself, is this something which is in my hands? If the answer is no,
don't
then
worry.
just forget about it. Nothing you can do. Don't be disappointed. Go back, start working hard, and wait for the next opportunity, which could be after 6 months, which could be after 1 year. You don't know.
Right,
So we had no set goals.
right,
Like so when it comes, will come as it comes. You take one day at a time. So no expectations. I
yeah,
think that was
that
what
was,
really no set goals, no expectations, and no complaints. Just keep working hard, wait for the next opportunity, and when it comes, try to do your
mm,
best. And in my case, so like when the government started supporting, whenever there was an opportunity, then you go and play and do well. So it took a long time for me
mm,
to make a mark at the international level. Even though I won the nationals junior and senior on the same day. It was early. It was not like the present
yeah,
time. Not many know that in the same week, junior national, because there were no, like I said, there were no age categories. So under eight, junior nationals, senior nationals, and they were two. They always held together same time
yeah,
in the same hall because entries were not so many. So I played in four events in that nationals. So it took me 7 years
right,
to my first international title came at 23.
right,
uh, and that was the Commonwealth Games gold medal in Edmonton.
yeah,
So that was also so. Then after I finished my graduation, I joined the Union Bank.
Right.
So
Oh, you worked at Union Bank.
yeah, I worked at Union Bank for about 10 years.
Right.
So they had taken me on sports quota.
Right.
So, the MD one day asked me, like, why are you not doing well at the international level? You won the national 6, 7 times, but I said, I also have no answer to that. Whenever I get an opportunity, whatever I know I'm doing, it's definitely not due to lack of effort from my side. Every time, whatever I know, because like I said, knowledge was you couldn't just easily go and get what do you do physical or whatever I knew I was doing. And so he says, what do you think we can what do you suggest we should do to see if you can improve and do well at the international level?
Right.
So I said the only way is Indonesia were on the top in those days, so they were the number one unbeaten. China was not yet in the BWF. So I said, maybe if I go and train in Indonesia, for some time, maybe it will help. I can learn something in what different they are doing, because it was not due to lack of effort from my side, but lack of knowledge. I didn't know what to do. So maybe if I go there, if they permit, I don't know. So then we wrote through the federation, we wrote to them. They said, you can come for 6 weeks.
Oh.
So I went to Indonesia for 6 weeks.
And this happens in which year?
When I was 23, 22.
Okay.
So me and Syed Modi, he
Right.
was the national junior champion. I was the senior champion. So both of us went, stayed there, played with the national team. They allowed us, maybe just as a gesture. Earlier, because most of these Asian countries, they don't let any foreigners come into their national team, because it's a very closely, like a secret. So they thought Indians, it's okay, doesn't matter. So two boys, unknown, that somebody from Africa coming. So just let them. They'll come and play. And so they let us train there for 6 weeks. In fact, so that was sponsored. The airfare was sponsored by my bank.
Right.
They said we go and try, and we stayed in a gurdwara. Because there were no question. I think we were given $25 for US dollars for 6 weeks.
Wow.
We didn't know where we were staying, so we went there. Some Indians came and he said, "Where are you staying?" He said, "We don't know. We've been asked to come here." So then there was a gurdwara which was about 30 kilometers away from the stadium. So we stayed in the gurdwara, slept on the floor. We used to have langar food, and they gave us a two-wheeler, and me and Modi would drive all the way 30 kilometers twice a day, morning for physical training and afternoon for playing. So we trained with the national team, with the Rudy Hartono and Lim Swee King and Sumirat and Adichandra, Christian, all the best players in the world at that time. So I learned so much from that 6 weeks. I noted down all the the exercises which they were doing, especially the physical training part. That was where I was lacking. Technically, I was good, and maybe my game was a little more defensive at that time. The game had changed. We were still more focused on style, grace. But the game had become more physical, attacking, more net play. And so that's I realized there. And that was because of the physical training they were doing. And here, 70s, this was in the 70s, mid 70s. So nobody knew what physical training was. And, specialized training for badminton or for a sport. I mean, people, now will say, what is this? So you won't even realize, because you should have been born there to people who are, there during that time, will know what I'm talking about. So I noted down all the physical training they were doing. They were doing different things for different, to improve different parameters in physical training. Like for strength, they would do weight training twice. For for endurance, they would do interval training. For footwork, they would do skipping. So for again for endurance, long distance once a week. So it was a very systematic, scientific way of training, which I mean we never knew. So I noted down all the things which they were doing, and came back and followed exactly. Monday, whatever was possible. Everything was not possible. How many sets, which exercise. I wrote down everything. It was like a Bible for me. For almost 10 years, I just kept that. Book with me, and then formed a small group here. So I was like the head coach for training. So I would do myself, but make the program and make everybody else do. So that's when, and then as soon as I came back from This was just before uh, the Commonwealth Games.
Right.
And within 6 months, I went on to win the Commonwealth Games, and then won the.
Right.
So then I continued
And after that,
playing.
Indonesians would not never have allowed you
Yeah, so
again.
I think so I think after that they've never allowed any Indians or any foreigner to come. I think they would have probably asked the federation officials to resign because it's so it's irony that I beat the Indonesian Lim speaking in the finals in
Commonwealth.
1980. So
Brilliant. But sir, you talk about Rudy Hartono as your inspiration, and then you did beat him in the finals as well. What was your feeling at that point of time to beat your own idol?
well, it was a very strange feeling. I had grown up, definitely my hero idol. I personally thought that he was one of the best players I've seen of that era.
Right.
He was a complete player, offense, defense, in terms of temperament, in terms of physique, in terms of strokes, everything. He was, offense, defense, net, everything was, perfect. So really, uh, I think he was really, and I think he won 8 All England titles, 7 in a row.
Right.
I think he still holds the record for winning 8 All England title.
Wow.
So he changed the game, the way badminton was played. Like I said, it was more stroke oriented earlier. Grace, style, um, nice footwork. But then he made it more physical. This was in the late 60s, 70s.
Hmm.
So it was not that the strokes were completely given up,
Right.
but it became more physical. The
Mm.
focus was more on scoring points, smashing,
Mm.
good net play, uh, so playing faster. So
Mm.
the three main things became speed, power, and fitness.
Hmm.
From style and grace, it turned to speed, like you play really fast,
Right.
power and fitness. You have to be very
Mm.
fit to play at that pace
Mm.
Right.
compared to the previous generation, because they were very graceful, very stylish. The spectators loved watching. I think this was across all sports. If you see some of the older, whether it's cricket or tennis, they were very stylish players.
Mm. Right.
So the emphasis was more on style and grace and
Mm.
correct footwork. uh, but all that slowly changed, in during the 70s. And Rudy Hartono was one of the first ones to introduce that concept,
Right.
which I realized, when I played against him, when I went there. So this is how I learned, So I realized that when the very first time I played against him, I realized that the kind of game which I was playing was very defensive. So if I continue playing like that, there is no way I will, be able to make a mark at the international level. So that's when, I also tried to, develop the dribbles at the net,
Mm.
the half smash at the net.
Hmm.
Sorry, the half smashes, the full smashes. My offense was not definitely one of my strong points, but I think I depended more on my accuracy, my deception, my thinking capabilities,
Mm.
tactics, concentration. So I think these were more to do with the mind
Right.
than absolutely physical. So ultimately, it so happened that over a period of time, so what I did was, there was no way I could exactly play like what Rudy did.
Right.
Mm.
There was no way, because of physical limitations and all that.
Right. Right.
And even if I tried to do, and maybe I would have lasted for 5 points, but
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think I would have, because of the kind of training we did, or because of diet and
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I picked up some good points from each of the players. Like
Right.
from Rudy Hutton, I picked up the stroke which I found very interesting was the half smash.
Hmm.
So when he played the half smash, the full smash and the half smash, same action, he would play half smash. And so how does he do that? When does he play the half smash? What does he do after playing the half smash?
Mm.
Where
Mm.
what is the follow up stroke?
Right.
So I just tried to
Learn from
see
that.
that, and then try to come back and try to follow the same thing. So
Wow.
over a period of time, this half smash became my favorite pet stroke
Wow.
also.
Oh.
Then there was another player called Stuart Johnson from Sweden. So he was very good at the net regarding the deception. He'll show as if he's playing at the net and push it back. So I picked up a deception from him. So one stroke, and then came up with a style of my own.
Right.
So during my time, like now, if you see, the major difference is, if you see one player, you feel that you've seen all of them,
Right.
because there is no there is no difference. More or less, it's more or less the same, because the same coaches have gone. Chinese coaches have come all over. Indonesian coaches have gone. So they are taught the same way, the Koreans, or so it's all about physical speed, power, and fitness. So when we played in the 80s, each player had his own style. Even if it was Indonesian, in two Indonesians, one would be little more offensive, or one more little more defensive. One would be little stroke player. One would prefer longer rallies. Same with the Chinese. Han Jian, who were the world number one, he had a slightly defensive kind of game compared to Luan Jin, who was very aggressive. Morten Frost had his own style. Misbun Sidek had his own style. Ichuk Sugiarto from Indonesia had his own style. I had my own style. So it was basically, when we played, it was a clash of different styles. Which style will prevail over the other? So each one trying to outwit. It was a game of chess. There was little of mind also, tactics, strategy also involved. Even though there was no video analysis and all that, just everything in the mind. So I think that is a difference between the our generation and this generation.
Yeah, actually, that's, if I look at it, I think that is becoming truer and truer for almost all sports.
Yes.
Like,
No, I think generally when I'm talking about
yeah,
badminton, it applies to it
yeah,
applies to all sports. Maybe in some sport it has come little earlier, maybe
yeah,
tennis, or like tennis also, it was more of long rallies, and
correct.
early in between, for a short period, like when they played the Wimbledon on grass, it was serve and volley. You just serve and just rush and finish.
Yeah,
But now again, it's coming back to, you can't do that, because I think they made the maybe the balls little slower, and the grass is also, because they want, it's all now made for
viewership.
viewer, yeah, with the spectators, and viewer friendly.
Yeah, makes sense. So, sir, if I were to ask you, from 1970s till today, who are the top three greatest of all time badminton players in your books?
uh, well, Rudy Hartono would be one,
For sure.
from 70s, if you're talking about. Before that, there was an Erland Kops from Denmark. He also won, I think, 7 times All England. Rudy, won 8. So Denmark also has been a badminton country from a very long time. So it's just the infrastructure they have. A lot of people ask me why. I said I don't know, but the facilities there are, every community has, every locality has 6 or 7, 8, 10 badminton courts.
Oh my
And it's
God.
been there since 50s. It's a very popular sport in Denmark. So they have a very good system. They have inter-club matches. So very very well organized. So Rudy Hartono would be one. Then I would say Morten Frost probably would be, again. He reached the All England eight consecutive All England finals, out of which 4 he won, 4 he lost. But he was one of the most consistent players during our time. Between the 80s and mid 90s, very consistent. He would play all the tournament. Like otherwise people would say, like, I'm peaking, so you skip some tournaments. Any small tournament, we'll come back to Denmark. There's some small weekend tournament, Saturday, Sunday, he'll play that also. Then, some German Open, whatever, continuously he would play, and very, very consistent.
Right.
Of course, one has to remember that, the scoring in those days was a game of 15.
Yeah.
And, unlike, so again, many of the listeners may not even know what this is. But it was comparatively easier to be consistent during that time, because you
Right.
could score a point only on your own serve.
Right.
Like when the opponent served, if you won a point, it was only a side over.
Yeah.
So you had to serve, and then you get a point.
Right. So the
So
game was also a little longer.
yeah, so
in
that's why
duration.
the game changed, and they made it from 15, it became 21. And this is the rally serve point, they call it now. So Rudy Hartono, uh, Morton Frost. And I think, after my generation, I think difficult because I've not really seen.
Yeah.
But from the records, it could be Lindan.
Right.
There was, or with that Indonesian Taufik,
Right.
Hmm.
Taufik Hidayat. But Lindan, I think, probably has a better record. I think he was.
Right.
I think he's won all the tournaments and
Yeah.
multiple number of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
How would you rate between the your hunger and talent? Which one would you rate higher?
No, I think in my case it was the hunger. Talent was of course there. Without talent I couldn't have gone this far. That too, without any of the the any other support. It's
Hmm.
entirely. I would say completely a self-made player, and I am a player who depended a lot on trial and error. Like I said, I watch different players, then come back. I try to play certain strokes whatever I've seen, or whatever I've understood. So some of the strokes worked,
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
didn't work. So then, if it worked I would keep it, if it didn't work I would discard.
Hmm.
So but I think, in my case, since I didn't start with the intention of becoming a champion, so over a period of time, I think it just so happened that it was not for to please anybody,
Hmm.
or to for money, or for recognition, or for rewards or awards. If I win I'll get
Hmm.
some this
Hmm.
thing here. It was more to just challenge myself and see what I could do,
Hmm.
uh, just to satisfy myself,
Hmm.
Right.
what I could do without any of the facilities. How much can I push myself and uh, see where I reached. So to do that, my only thing was, every session I, whether it was in the gym or on the ground or in the court, I would just give my 100% every day,
Right.
and then I don't think about the result.
Right.
Because, so I think that is what, even what I would advise to the players also, anybody, this generation, previous generation, next generation. So make sure that you give 100% in every
Hmm. Hmm.
session, and the idea should be to reach your potential.
Right.
Hmm.
Everybody cannot win Olympics, everybody cannot win the All England,
Absolutely.
every cannot
Hmm.
sometime maybe
Hmm.
even become a national champion.
Right.
So the idea should be to reach your potential, and how
Hmm.
can you
Hmm.
do that? By focusing on giving 100% in every session you do. You
Hmm.
should not have any regrets later,
Hmm.
that after you've retired, oh, I didn't give my 100%. A lot of the players do that. That's the mistake
Right.
they do. They don't realize, they try to skip sessions, or pretend as if they're working hard, but actually they're not putting in their 100%. Maybe they give 70%,
Hmm.
but then they regret, if I had worked hard maybe I could have done, but then it's too late.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you can't, so in my case it was just, the I just wanted to challenge myself and see what I could achieve, despite there being no facilities, despite all the challenges. And like, even if I had not won anything, I would still not have been dissatisfied, or
Hmm.
Right.
would have any regrets, because I couldn't have done anything more than what I did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sir,
Absolutely.
hunger also comes from a little resistance given. Say, in your case, probably your father gave you some resistance, that uh, a financial resistance, probably, that you cannot go to All England or you cannot travel to other cities because of lack of financial
Yeah,
support, right? So this hunger uh, gets created by some bit of resistance,
yeah,
right? So is it true that it is even more difficult for a rich kid who has all luxuries in life to uh, be a sports champion? And if that is true, then Gopichand says that only rich kids should, or rich parents should, send their kids to for
yeah. I
badminton
think
or.
there, I don't agree with Gopi.
Hmm.
I'm exactly the opposite.
Hmm.
Because if you have seen, I mentioned this, not many people will also know. You go through the history of Indian sports, right from the 60s, in any sport. You name, hockey players, cricket players, football players, badminton players, or, anybody who have achieved, athletics, table tennis, anywhere. almost 99% of the players who have done well
Right.
internationally
Right.
are all from middle class or lower middle class.
Right.
Right.
I'm talking of uh, the players when they played,
Hmm.
Right.
not their current,
Right.
not where they are now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
take anybody, Kapil Dev, cricketers, Kapil Dev, right from, let's say, except probably
Hmm.
Mansur Ali Khan Patodi, who was a Nawab. Otherwise,
Hmm.
Yeah.
everybody else, whether Gavaskar or
Yeah.
Tendulkar or Kapil Dev or, all of them.
Dhoni,
Then,
everyone.
Ramnath Krishnan, whether PT Usha,
Hmm. Hmm.
myself, table tennis or, hockey.
Right.
Everybody was from middle class or lower middle class. Maybe Abhinav Bindra, probably, I don't know, was an exception, probably
Yeah.
even later. Everybody is from middle class, or
Hmm.
they may
Hmm.
be different now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
so, it's a very clear case that,
Hmm.
that uh, it's not that, the rich kids can't do.
Right.
It's no fault of the children.
Yeah.
It's
It
no fault of the
is
children.
probably
It's the way they've been brought up.
it's
Their
Yeah.
too
priorities are
easy.
different.
E-
Mm.
They are used to comforts
Hmm.
from a very
Hmm.
young age.
Right.
Right.
They have nannies, so they really don't know.
Yeah.
It's you, and
Hmm.
you can't suddenly change. That
Yeah.
is why you see now, even now, the most of the talented, the players, most of the good players, or they all come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Right.
Right.
And nowadays it's all from lower middle class, because they get support. They have different people support them, sponsor them,
Mm.
identify them, because they are willing to work hard.
Yeah.
The kind of
Hmm.
hard work you need to put in, and the kind of sacrifices you need to make, the
Yeah.
kind of discipline you need, the kind of dedication you need, it's difficult to expect from a rich, from kids of rich families.
Right.
Right.
It's no fault of theirs.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with, in fact, Gopi himself, so he's also from,
Lower middle
like he's
class.
saying, only rich, like his daughter played, his son played.
Right.
So, daughter is doing well. So I don't agree. And the other thing is, my this thing is that everybody should play some sport,
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
and it need not be to become champions,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
because sport teaches a lot of good things otherwise,
Right.
off the court, off the field.
Yeah.
Team spirit, dedication,
Hmm.
discipline, time management.
Right.
So you can see, and which is helpful in life,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
not
Right.
necessarily
Absolutely.
in, like, the things which you learn. I mean, you don't realize while playing, when you are a
Hmm.
kid, but things which you have learned off the field will help you when you go to college, when you go to university, when you take your jobs,
Hmm.
when you go up the ladder in the corporate world. If you played a sport, the ability to analyze, the ability to accept defeat,
Hmm.
Right.
the
Hmm.
ability to analyze, when
Right.
you lost, you're a small kid, 10-year-old, you lose without realizing. You say, okay, why did I lose? I think, what should I do next time to beat, the. So you would have developed that
Hmm.
habit.
Right.
So sport
Hmm.
teaches a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So because of that, I want as many kids as possible. They don't necessarily have to play badminton, but
Hmm.
they should play
Hmm.
some sport.
Some sport.
Right.
Hmm.
They
Right.
don't have to be rich. They don't have to. Even the rich kids can play. They'll also learn.
Right.
You ask anybody who has played a sport whether it has helped. So many of
Yeah.
them,
Hmm.
it has definitely helped.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
S-
Yes.
So, which actually brings us to one other question, sir. So, a lot of Indian families today, as parents, and I keep talking to so many parents, they have kids, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, uh, and they always struggle to identify what signals should I understand in my child to look for that X factor, that can I encourage or push my child to pursue sports as a career.
Yeah.
uh, some parents take the bet, but most parents don't, because they somehow still feel that, you know if my child doesn't do well in sports,
Yeah.
then they will not have a career at all, right? In your case, for example, you know Deepika went all the way to become a national badminton player, right? Anisha became a professional golfer. So both of them, actually, of course, there's a sports lineage in the family, but from your perspective, were you at any point of time worried that if my kids are pursuing sports, as a parent, I should be worried for their career?
No, not really, not exactly. But one has to be aware. If there is no guideline as such, but generally, from my experience, what I've seen is you should encourage children to play sport, but at the same time be aware.
Right.
Sorry. Ideally, the time to take a decision is, let's say, when they are in the 10th standard. By that time, if a child has, let's say, I'm talking of badminton,
Right.
if they have not even represented the state
Right.
at age 10, like, so you're 16, 17,
Yeah.
18, like they've not even played for the district,
Yeah.
then the chances of them doing well if they take up the sport professionally, it's extremely difficult.
Right. Right.
So then they should go into academics if
Right.
they are good in academics. So that's a clear indication of you know the other thing is, if a child is good in both, extremely good in both academics and in sports,
Right.
I would suggest they go into academics.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, you might be surprised
Mm,
because
right.
their aim would be to, they'll compare, they would probably want to do IIT, IIM, and all that. And
Right.
then they'll compare with, what sport will give you in return.
Right.
They'll talk of ROI.
Right.
So and what are the chances? What are the risk factors?
Yeah.
To take up sport, and then I can also get into, but those will be very few, very very
Right.
few. So if they are good in both, my suggestion is, let them pursue academics, but at the
Academics.
same time not give up sport completely.
Right.
Let them pursue sport, whichever, football, cricket, tennis, basketball. Let them play for college, let them play for university, let them play
Right.
for IIT, let them play for IIM. Later on also continue playing,
Right.
for the reasons which I mentioned. It's
Yes.
good for health. As you
Yes.
get older, it's you any kind of physical activity will, and
Good shape.
it's suggested now. A lot of people go for walks or
Yeah.
swimming or anything,
Yeah.
any sport. If you play nothing like it, golf,
Yeah.
Right.
tennis,
Yeah.
paddle, pickle,
Yeah.
so you play some sport, it's helpful.
Right.
And
Right.
so it's not to give up. So the parents have to be aware. And like, so 16, between 16 and 18, that's the time when one should decide. So even though there's no hard point as such, that this is
Yeah.
exactly the also depends on sport. Like swimming and all, I think they mature much, they become champions much early, much when they are much younger.
Right.
But by that time, if they have not reached, then and if they are good in studies, then
They should
so
pursue
they
it.
should pursue academics, but at the same time continue playing. May not be looking at becoming a professional in sport.
Right.
They need not give up sport entirely.
Right.
Play over the weekends, play whenever they will get an opportunity, more for fitness. Play in the your inter college, after you join inter corporate tournaments.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I think that would probably be a good benchmark,
Yeah. So
for any
basically, the
parent to keep in mind.
aspirational side changes to recreational
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
side.
yeah.
Right. Right, sir.
Right. Um, so on the other side, sir, I think we also wanted to touch base on a few things on how has badminton coaching in itself changed. While you mentioned that in 1970s and 80s there was literally no coaching,
No, for me, there
for
were
you
coaches, but they were more. There were nobody here in
in
Bangalore.
Bangalore,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Wow.
Uh, Now, you know, 45 years is a long time. Uh, Compared to 1980s or early 90s when you were also a national coach for the national Indian national team, uh, to today, what do you see has changed in the coaching methodology? Has it remained the same, or has it like transformed in a very
No, I
meaningful
think it
way?
has evolved. It has evolved.
Yeah,
Because
and
of completely, it's very totally different now.
also that sir had prepared that Bible of his, so that changed likely the way coaching
No,
happened.
also
I think
because of
that.
social media now, the information is so
Right.
easily accessible,
Hmm.
and there is so much money coming to sport. Government is
Right.
spending a lot of money, so you have access to the latest developments, latest techniques developed in any sport, whether it is
Right.
physical, technical. You can get Chinese coaches here, you can send your coaches abroad, you
Hmm.
can learn from YouTube, you can. So
Hmm.
it's very easy to stay relevant.
Right.
Right.
But earlier, the 70s and 80s, that was not the case.
Right.
Like if you learned something and became a coach, whatever you learned, maybe it will
Hmm.
stay there like that for 20 years,
Right.
Hmm.
because you have no access. Not
Correct.
It's not that the coach didn't want
Hmm.
to upgrade their skills, but
Right.
there was no avenue for
Limited.
them to refresh, to
Right.
upgrade their skills.
Right.
But now I think again in all fields, you take strength and conditioning, you
Hmm.
take
Hmm.
physiotherapy, you sports science, sport psychology, or even coaching. In with specific reference to badminton, it's changed completely.
Right.
You have access to the latest technology, the latest developments in coaching, because a lot of our players also doing well, so they all go outside. A lot of even so many coaches, young coaches, get an opportunity to go outside, and for they go as coaches
Hmm.
accompanying the
Hmm.
teams. So then that is where they should make use of, not just go there, watch the matches and come back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they should interact, when the other countries are training, the Chinese are training, the Indonesians are training, so they'll be doing their own. So go and see them. What are they doing? It's a good
Hmm.
learning
Hmm.
experience for
Right.
young coaches to.
Right.
I don't know whether they do that,
Hmm.
but one can learn a lot just by
Hmm.
watching,
Hmm.
Yeah.
provided you have the initiative.
Hmm.
So that you have to be uh, you have to be proactive.
Right.
Like if you are a coach, so I just go sit for my boys match, come back.
Hmm.
So earlier, like
Hmm.
then that was what used to happen earlier, because
Right.
coaches were not professional.
Right.
The moment you're, sometime when the matches are on, coaches are not there. They're
Right.
shopping somewhere outside. But those things have changed now. So players are, coaches are also more, hungry, more eager to learn. So I think good way for them to, let's say they go for the world championships.
Hmm.
All the teams are training
Yeah.
throughout the. There'll be separate courts for training throughout
Right.
the. If they don't have matches, the teams will be training there.
Right.
Hmm.
So different. What do they do? Physical. They bring the trainers, physical trainer. They bring physios. They
Hmm.
bring. So it's a good opportunity for them to learn. Actually, which is much more than just reading or
Hmm.
uh, you know going on to the YouTube. And of course, for people who don't go outside, then
Yeah.
that is the next best. But when you go there, make use of the opportunities. Interact with the coaches, try
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
talk to them.
Right.
Don't be oh, I'm very like,
Hmm.
take the initiative, go and talk to them. They'll share the knowledge, if
Yeah.
you have. So if somebody is proactive, so I think it's the same with the players. I think especially for coaches,
Right.
somebody who's more proactive, willing to go and explore, take chances, go and meet people, wanting to learn, they will grow faster compared to somebody who's very like
Hmm.
very relaxed
Right.
and just does what he's asked to do.
Hmm.
Right. So when this Olympic semi-final was going on between Lakshya and Victor Axelsen, Lakshya was constantly looking back at you. What were you thinking at that point of time, and what advice did you give it to him?
No, I think that's not the time to give any advice. Advice has already been given. Like it's what you've done 1 month before.
Hmm.
Right.
The tactics, and maybe, or the day before, the it's not. One should not confuse
Hmm.
the players. Actually, it's not a very good habit.
Right.
According to me, because I'm old school. Like I said, because what the coach thinks will be different from what they're two different minds.
Right.
So whatever you've discussed, they should play what they are comfortable with. The coach input should be to, this is where you're going wrong, or so try, see if so make him aware that this is where the opponent is trying to do, or these are the things which you should try
Right.
to do, and which these are the things we should try to avoid. or where are the chances, of you getting more points,
Right.
because there's not too much time, and they are in a different zone altogether. So too much of information is also not good.
Right.
It can
Absolutely, sir.
confuse the
Right.
it can confuse the player.
Right.
Right. So
So
actually,
during the match, actually, uh, I mean, we were all hooked to the TV, of course. So I think after the first set, Axelsen started taking a lot of time during the serve.
Hmm.
Do you think that was intentional
It was intentional. It was intentional.
and to
It's all
break the
part of the
rhythm?
tactics,
Hmm.
experience.
So any input that you gave, or uh, there
No,
was?
so see, all these things, this is like a pre-serve routine.
Hmm.
Every this thing will have a pre-stroke routine, pre-match routine, pre-whatever. Like in golf also, cricket also.
Hmm.
If you see, some of the players, they
yeah.
do, one,
Hmm.
two, three, four things, and then. So this is how you are, concentrating.
Hmm.
Focus. That's the focus. So ideally, one should, the person who's really concentrating, is really, you can make out, they'll follow the same routine,
Hmm.
pre-stroke routine.
Hmm.
uh, so that means they are in the zone.
Right.
Hmm.
But if you keep changing, like sometimes you quickly serve, sometimes you take more time,
Yeah.
sometimes, so that means you are not, so that's an indication that you are not, very very focused. But that cannot be changed during the match.
Match.
Hmm.
So you have to practice that.
Right.
So
Right.
practice is the most important. What you do in practice, you have to. So that is why it's important that you plan. To all your practice sessions, you should treat it like a match.
Right.
And every game, every this thing you play, you must try to win.
Hmm.
Make it more difficult for
Absolutely.
yourself. Challenge.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes play against two players if if they're no good players. That's
Yeah.
what I used to do. I used to play against two players, sometimes three players, one against two, one against three, because that was the only way I could.
Right.
uh, and then at the same time, oh, just because they are two, it doesn't mean you just give up. You still
Right.
try to win.
Hmm.
So that
Right.
is how you push yourself,
Right.
and try to. So what you do in practice is what,
Hmm.
so
Comes out.
right from, the pre-match routine to how much time you take while serving, how much time you take while receiving. So I think that is one thing which, probably, most people lack in the present
Right.
generation compared to, if they treat practice sessions more seriously, I think they can be better players. A lot of them just, fool around. It's fun time. Doesn't matter if I lose. No, so that, you're training the mind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that, you should feel bad if you miss 1 point also, or
Hmm.
if you lose one game.
Yeah.
You should feel bad. Then only, that,
Hmm.
hunger will come, that,
Hmm.
that I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Only
Absolutely.
then will you, so
Hmm.
so you have to develop that. It doesn't come instinctively.
Hmm.
So you have to, make it tougher for yourself. So it requires a lot of,
Right.
focus, concentration, and willpower. A lot
Hmm.
of willpower
Right.
to do that.
Hmm.
Right.
So, that time, I mean, we can tell him, you also take your time, but,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't
help.
happen,
Hmm.
quickly, because they're so tense, that time.
Right. Right.
Makes sense. So, sir, actually, that also brings me to a different question, which actually I was also discussing with you when I met you in your office at CSE. Uh, you know, the Chinese system or the Indonesian system, or many systems across the world, is there an over reliance in India on a few sports superstars to give us extraordinary results? Like, I think in China, probably we don't even know the names of many of those people, and those people will still be, top 10 in the world or top 20 in the world, right? In US, they say that if you have not won an Olympic gold medal, probably you will not even be known to
Yeah.
anybody, right? uh, so what, according to you, is the difference in ecosystem, sporting ecosystem of, say, India, China, US, Indonesia, etc., that there somehow things seem like a machine is working and so many people are getting manufactured, and in India we are still relying on miracles?
Yeah. No, I think we've still not reached that stage, especially when it comes to badminton. Maybe it's, we are maybe just 20 years old
Right.
in terms of, it's really grown
Right.
in terms of infrastructure, in terms of coaching, in terms of funding, in terms of, overall ecosystem
Right.
compared to, other countries which you talked about,
Right.
especially when it comes to badminton.
Right.
China, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Indonesia. So they've been, there for a very long time.
Right.
So they have a very strong
Mm.
base. Like for example, all these most of the Asian countries, it starts from school.
Right.
So the base is very strong. The grassroots level coaching is very good. The fundamentals are very strong, which is not the case here,
Right.
not yet at least.
Right.
So because of that, what happens is we have limited number of players or limited number of athletes who do well, in across sports.
Right.
So they become the heroes, they become the heroines.
Right.
So they
Mm.
become stars
Right.
Mm.
because they have so few of them.
Right.
And also we sometimes, we because of so few stars, we even tend to glorify, even if they win a bronze, it becomes a big
Mm.
thing.
Right.
Chalo kuch to mil gaya.
Right.
So that's our, but the only way to get over that is, we need to produce
Yeah.
more champions,
Mm.
like, and not be satisfied.
Mm.
Yeah.
Everybody, like including some of the, sometimes maybe the coaches, maybe the officials, maybe the players themselves,
Right.
Mm.
like if or even the press, the media, if you've seen, I always think, like if in especially during the Olympics,
Yeah.
if you reach, one more medal assured, that will be a bronze. I doubt if anybody like that will write in China or US,
Yeah.
or like
Mm.
your,
Yeah.
you will wait till you go for the gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
One
Absolutely.
more
Yes.
medal assured. That means अच्छा, चलो ये एक तो मिल गया. So then it's difficult to change
Mm.
your
Mm.
mindset and go
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
right,
you
sir.
have to aim for the best.
Mm.
Whether it happens or not, that's a different. Your mindset, your whole focus, the way you approach. It's not that if you don't like you will win gold. I'm not saying that. But until it's achieved, until your
Mm.
the event is over, then you get bronze. Then it's
Mm.
fine. So we have to
Mm.
we
Mm.
have to do well and not be satisfied with
Mm.
okay, number 3 and number
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
so
This
we have to.
reminds me of I think the gold medal match between Sindhu and Marine, where before the match even started, I think the very famous commentator, I don't remember her name, said that Sindhu is here uh, for a medal
Huh,
and Marine is here for the gold. So there was a
Marine
very
is here to
clear,
win.
yeah, yeah, very clearly.
So again,
Mm,
it's
mm,
it's the general mindset. The
mm,
Yeah.
society is like that. So
Yeah.
it's not again
mm,
the player's fault unless you are
Yeah.
really like,
mm,
no, I'm not happy with this. So, and not easy to. I think
Right.
there'll be very few exceptions who will really want to to achieve that and not be
mm,
happy with,
Yeah.
like, just getting a bronze or finishing a fourth, or
yeah, yeah.
close finish, or you should go all the way.
Right.
Mm.
So so
That.
that needs a
Mm,
change in the
Yeah.
mindset of the,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it takes time.
And
It
It
takes
takes
time.
time. It doesn't happen
it also
overnight.
reminds me, I think it was 20, I don't know, 2016 maybe, Olympics when Lindan lost in the semis against Lee Chong-wei.
Hmm.
And then it was a bronze medal match and he did not put his effort because
Huh.
he had always thought
Yeah,
of
gold.
nothing less than gold.
Yeah.
Nothing less than
So
gold.
for
Yeah.
them,
So
so once you've done that, then bronze is no big deal. You will not
Right.
even like
Bother
even in
about it.
your biodata, if you won so many, you will
Yeah.
not even mention that you are a bronze
Bronze.
medalist in these. So because you mention only the your
Gold.
biggest achievements.
How do you see the role of sports federations in India? Uh, now Machaxi and Padukone School of Badminton have started working together, but it's more like the sports startups are very new in India, and will take sports startups some time to also sort of mature the ecosystem, and then maybe uh, make something good coming out of there. But sports federations have existed for a long time, right? Uh, in your view, have they fulfilled the responsibility or the expectation that should be there for a sports federation? And if not, what do you think, in your opinion, needs to change for the goodness of Indian sporting ecosystem for the next 30, 40 years?
Well, as of now, definitely they've not succeeded in what they are supposed to. Uh, very few federations. Maybe BCCI probably is the only exception. Others have not lived up to at least my expectations. They are there to support. They are there to develop, promote. Spread the game right from grassroots to. So that is the first. In their articles or memorandum, that is why the federations are
Right.
formed to promote, and they should be doing a lot more. And I've been saying this for last 20, 30 years now. We have to bring in more professionalism in sports
Right.
administration.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the federations, even now, still have honorary secretaries. Why
Right.
should it be honorary? Like if somebody is, you really want results, you have to bring in professionals, and
Yeah.
professionals have to be paid.
Yeah.
They have to be paid well,
Yeah.
and they should be held accountable.
Yeah.
These set targets for them, like any corporates,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
the work. So appoint a CEO, give him the full responsibility. How you raise fund, that is your problem. You
Right.
talk to the government, or give him the responsibility of raising. Give them a free hand. That's how some of the federations outside work.
Right.
Like for example, the Badminton Association of England in UK is a private limited company.
Oh.
So they have a CEO, they have a board.
Wow.
Yeah, a board of directors who appoint the CEO. Exactly like then they have promotion manager, events manager,
Right.
development manager, coaching manager, sports science managers who all report to different people. So very structured. So that is how each of the federations should be run.
Right.
To get sponsors, to get marketing, to spread, to talk to the TV people. So we
Right.
don't have professional people running sports here. So I think we have a long way to go.
Right.
All this time, but it's getting better.
Right.
One of the reasons, because these sports federations are not as active as they should be. One of the reasons why we are still in single-digit medals at the Olympics.
Right.
It's not due to lack of talent.
Yeah.
There's plenty of talent in all the sports, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. But there is no system which allows
Scouts.
the such talent to be recognized, to be spotted, to be given encouragement, and that encouragement has to be given at the right age, at the right time.
Right.
That's very important. Otherwise, you lose
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
People get frustrated. People get
Right.
disappointed. They give up sport. I don't know how
Yeah.
many thousands of people would have given up.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
need to. So I think in that connection, since we are talking about that, I think the recent sports bill,
Yes.
which has been passed, hopefully that should bring about some accountability, and it should improve the sports administration in the country.
Right.
I only hope we are very good in finding loopholes.
Right.
Indians are very good in finding loopholes. So I hope the federation officials take it in the right spirit,
Right.
and don't try to find loopholes and follow the rules. And this is for the good of Indian sports. So
Absolutely.
one good thing is like you said, I think the major the foundations or companies like Padukone School of Badminton and Machaxi can only do so much,
Right.
can only help, like maybe 2%, 3%, 4%, but the major responsibility lies with the federations.
Right.
That is why they are they have so much of funds. They have sports ministries giving them so much of funds.
Right.
So they have to look at bringing in professionals, and making the sport more popular, in different ways, social
Right.
media, on TV, matches, inter-school, introduce it in schools, try to increase the grassroots level,
Participation.
participation at the grassroots level. You talked about China and all this.
Right.
If you see the number of children who play, let's say,
Yeah.
badminton in China as against India, so it may be, I don't know, 10, 20, 100 times more, maybe,
Yeah. For
because
sure.
every
Absolutely.
school has a court, table tennis or any sport. So the focus should be, on broad basing the
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 sport.
bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So once you have the number of players playing the sport, automatically the the number of players at the top will keep increasing. Then
Right.
you're not
Yeah,
dependent
yeah,
on one or two or three stars.
Right.
yeah.
Then like it has happened in cricket,
Yes. Yes.
classic
Yes.
example.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's so
absolutely.
much competition, like one, if you don't score, somebody else is waiting.
Yeah.
So that is what we need to develop.
Yeah.
In fact, instead of criticizing BCCI, I always say that one should learn
Hmm.
Yeah.
the way they have marketed the sport.
Yeah.
So why can't other federations do the same? Why should be so dependent on the government only for funds?
Right.
And nowadays corporates are willing to this through CSR, and
Yes, yeah.
especially for national federations, you
Yes.
have a good program,
Hmm.
corporates will be willing to support to any extent.
Right.
But you must have a good program, you must
Yeah.
have good people, you must have people who, if you promise something, you must deliver, at least
Yeah.
attempt to deliver.
Yeah.
So if there is
Hmm.
no plan, obviously the corporates will not come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to go to them, make
Yeah.
a proper plan. And I don't think there is shortage of money now, in the
Yeah.
last 5 years, especially after like CSR funding becoming available for sports.
Sports. Yeah.
So many, I mean, because I'm a founder member of OGQ, I
Yeah.
have Olympic Gold Quest, so I've seen the kind of 90% of our donors are repeat donors.
Right.
Why do they
Hmm.
repeat? They've been supporting us for 15 years.
Wow.
Mhm.
They keep increasing,
Hmm.
90% of them. That's because the transparency,
Yeah.
they know that the funds which you give them is being utilized, and it's being reported how the funds are being utilized. So
Right.
transparency has to be there in so if that is there and you have a good plan, you build the trust of the corporates,
Yeah.
you can raise any amount of money. Money raising is not a problem.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So the other side of this, of course, also is that say companies like Machaxi or startups, other sports startups are trying to solve the problem at the grassroots level. But one major blocker that we are continuously facing is the GST piece of 18%
Yeah.
on still on sports. So I mean, we have tried brainstorming a lot and tried to understand why this 18% of GST is still levied, and at on one side the government is promoting Khelo India and trying to promote our athletes, their development. But why is this? Why do you think this 18%
That I
GST?
think we need to ask the finance minister. But my this thing would be,
Yeah.
my suggestion, my request would be to definitely consider. This is harmful for the sports,
Yeah.
because sports is mainly played by very middle class and lower middle
Yeah.
class people.
Mm.
So this 18% is too steep. Depriving many of the aspiring kids
Yeah.
to take up sports. Otherwise, I think representations have been given.
Yeah.
So let's hope that because and it's too
Yeah.
steep
Yeah.
Yeah.
for because we because it like it sports, like I mentioned earlier, has so many good points for
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should not be taxed.
Mm.
And I think the amount they collect from sports is would be very
Very small.
Very small.
very small
Yeah.
compared to the total.
Yeah.
So it need not, you should take it in the maybe people have not realized, because there are so many factors.
Yeah.
If somebody really pushes,
Yeah.
all the maybe the federations get together, or
Mm.
IOA. So I think these
Yeah.
are the things, if they
Mm.
put in, like individuals
Hmm.
or companies,
Yeah.
giving representation will not have the same weight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So IOA or so these people in the federation officials should come together and try to speak to the ministry. And I think
Yeah.
maybe not enough push
Has
has been
happened.
there
Yeah. Yeah.
to reduce. So
Because I
if
think it
at
has
least,
never been an industry in itself. Like nobody recognized
yeah,
sports as an industry. It's
service,
very,
then
yeah.
coaching, it becomes so expensive for
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So, sir, since you're talking about the BCCI model, and IPL has been such a success story, and because of that, the grassroots participation of cricket, like I think if a child today is pursuing cricket, parents are like comfortable that maybe if nothing else happens, maybe this my child will go to IPL and have some at least career
yeah.
success. When PBL started, people were very excited in India, and and I think Tushar, you also went to
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the PBL matches, and you watched those matches. Uh, what happened, sir? Why did it stop? And can we
When
I
expect
think
it?
BI can answer this, but from what I understand, I think there have been some legal issues.
Okay,
Uh, I think they had, given the.
but it was not because of viewership issue.
No, 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 no. I don't think so. No,
Okay,
no. Initially, yes. Initially, I think they changed the company which was managing the event. The event management company changed,
right,
and then subsequently, I don't think they've given it to the right people. I don't know who are the people who are organizing, but I'm in fact I've also been asked many times by the
right.
corporates and so many others. Like when every sport can have a
league.
a league,
League.
why not badminton?
Yeah,
So I've spoken to the president, I've spoken to the secretary of the BI also. Like
right.
not that we want to organize anything, but it definitely helps in popularizing the sport.
100%.
So they've said
Right,
that there were some legal issues and likely to be sorted out.
right,
So maybe for this year, I think it's already too late, because
right.
generally it's had in they conduct it in December during
Mm,
Christmas time. But for next year, I think they should give it to. So again, this is also a case where there's so many companies who are willing to to organize. So
right,
find the right event management company who will do a good job, who will, and don't have
Hmm.
any self your own interest.
Hmm.
So I
yeah,
think what probably BI tried to do was, maybe I don't know if I'm right, but they tried to organize it themselves.
right.
They said, why should we pay somebody else?
Mm,
So I think that's not, because that's not your expertise,
Hmm.
right,
and you don't have full-time people working.
right,
So it's totally different, and running a a big event like this is not easy. So
Correct.
it has to be given to professionals, and you pay them a fees. They will raise the funds. You charge whatever you want. The federation can tell the event management company, this is what we want, and
right,
work together. So it definitely
right.
that's something which will definitely popularize the sport,
Yep.
Right.
and
Yep.
take it to the next level.
Also, it's a very good learning curve for youngsters here who watch foreign players
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
joining
yeah. So
in.
it will
Yeah,
In
definitely create,
yeah,
in multifold. It will have a
um,
multifold effect.
right.
More number of children will play. More courts
Yep.
will come up. The standard
Hmm.
will go up.
yeah,
Right.
Players will feel more confident. I'm not talking of already established players.
yeah,
Like it has
Yep.
happened. It has its advantages, because
100%.
like in each team there will be 4 or 5 foreign. Rest all will be has to be Indian players, and then some juniors have
Hmm.
to be
Hmm.
given an opportunity. Excellent
Yep.
model.
Correct. Yeah, and
And like it's entertaining.
yeah,
It's becoming you make the sport popular.
yeah,
Players make money, federations make
Yep.
money,
Yep.
corporates make
100%.
money in terms of viewership. So I think everything is there. So
Hmm.
Yeah,
I think if the one thing is lacking in Indian badminton today, I think
It
it
is
will be
PBL.
the
mm,
Premier Badminton League, which I hope they'll restart very
Resume soon.
soon.
right. Thank you everyone for watching the podcast today. We hope you enjoyed the session. I got to know a lot with Prakash sir. We'll continue on this episode soon after. Thank you very much.